like you. Wanna be besties?
No way! Go away!
Wait, why are you crying? Chill, I'll give you my superhero action figure.
I don't care. I only like sweet, girly girls. Bossy and scary ones like you. Nobody's ever gonna like you.
Nobody's ever gonna like me? Hey there, I'm Kezia, 16 now. Before we get into it, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to MDA. So fun fact, I'm kind of a beast. Like, I'm literally 2 or 3 times stronger than anyone my age. In winter, when my whole class was sniffling with colds, I was just vibing. Never been sick in my life. Back then, I thought being this strong was pretty epic. But soon I realized my strength was more of a yikes than a flex. Like one time I'd accidentally crush toy cars during games or kick soccer balls so hard they tore through the net. My classmates were totally freaked out. And don't even get me started on my first crush. He straight up rejected me, saying I was too scary. His exact words? Nobody's gonna like a scary girl like you. Yeah, that one stuck. At 16, my family moved to New York. New city, new me, right? I decided to rebrand. If my strength freaked people out, I'd just keep it low-key. So I went from a strong, confident girl to playing the role of a delicate, dainty princess. This is so heavy!
Casey, no way you can lift that. Here, let me.
I watched him carry the box away thinking, bruh, I could carry 3 of those without even breaking a sweat. Useless much? Can't even lift 1 box. Enter Miley, the queen of the gymnastics club. Gorgeous? Totally. But her personality? Major ick. She is obsessed with being the center of attention. I almost clapped back, but then I remembered sweet and helpless Kezia wouldn't do that. So I just let it slide. To sell this new persona, I had to dive deep into the whole soft girl aesthetic. Think flowy dresses and delicate jewelry instead of my go-to hoodies. I'd nibble on salads and sandwiches in public, even though I could totally inhale 2 burgers and a bowl of spaghetti in one sitting. It was exhausting pretending to be someone I wasn't, but those childhood words haunted me. I couldn't risk being real. One chilly evening, I stopped by 7-Eleven for snacks. On my way home, I saw 2 guys hassling a girl from my class. Please, just leave me alone. Taking those jerks down was easy, but if I stepped in, my secret would be toast. What do I do? Then I remembered my hat. It covered most of my face, only my eyes were showing. Perfect. I sprinted over, took them down like a pro, and bolted before she could even thank me. When I was far enough away, I stopped to catch my breath. That's when I saw a guy struggling to grab something under a car. Without thinking, I walked over and casually lifted the front of the car. Hurry up and grab it! After he retrieved his keys, I gently set the car down and took off. The next morning at school, everyone was buzzing. She took down 2 creeps to save me, but she ran off so fast I couldn't even ask her name.
And she lifted a car, bro. Like it was no big deal.
Are you guys serious? No girl's that strong.
Nah, for real. She even looked kinda like you.
Don't even start comparing me to some random nobody. Nobody would have guessed the so-called weakling who couldn't lift a box was standing right in front of them. That's when I realized I could have the best of both worlds. By day, I'd be Kezia, the shy, delicate girl. By night, I would turn into a low-key superhero helping people in secret. So yeah, that's how I became the mystery girl hero. By day, I was a delicate, fragile girl. Bump into me and I might just topple over. But by night, I took down 3 thugs all on my own. By day, I couldn't even lift a potted plant. By night, I hauled 3 heavy crates for someone else like it's nothing. By day, I'd fake being out of breath after running half a lap in gym class. By night, I was sprinting 3 blocks to catch a thief. And as my nighttime beats went viral, people online started calling me the mystery girl hero. Double life was kind of iconic if you ask me. I was walking down the street when I saw a thief snatch a guy's bag and take off running. Without a second thought, I bolted after him. I caught up pretty quickly, but he was tough, stronger than I expected. It took everything I had to wrestle him down. In the struggle, he shoved me to the ground. That's when my anger kicked in. With all my strength, I landed a solid punch that sent him sprawling. Picking up the bag, I turned to return it to its owner, only to find him already running toward me.
Thanks so much. Never thought I'd get saved by the mystery girl hero.
No big deal, I gotta go. I tried to walk away, but pain shot through my leg and I stumbled slightly. Thankfully, the guy caught me just in time.
Hey, are you okay?
That guy knocked me down. My leg's killing me.
I work at a pharmacy nearby. Let me help you with that.
Before I could protest, he gently took my arm and helped me walk. Reluctantly, I let him lead me. At the pharmacy, he carefully examined my injury and concluded I had a sprain. Grabbing an ice pack, he pressed it gently against my ankle, then wrapped it with care. His kindness made my heart race. Honestly, he was the most handsome guy I'd ever seen. but something about him felt familiar.
All done. Swing by in a few days so I can check on it. I'm Jaden, by the way. What's your name?
Jaden? My eyes widened. Memories of a boy from my past came flooding back. Could it really be him? His voice snapped me out of my thoughts. Well, being a mysterious superhero and all, I can't just give my real name away.
Fair enough, but can we at least be friends? If you ever get hurt, come find me, okay?
His sincere eyes made me hesitate. All right, I'll come back in a few days. From that day on, I visited Jaden's pharmacy often. We talked more each time, and before I knew it, we became close. Something along the way, I realized I liked him. One day, my teacher walked into class with a new student. It was Jaden. I sat there, jaw practically hitting the floor as I realized he'd transferred to my school. To make things crazier, the teacher assigned him the seat right next to mine. When he approached, I was so nervous I dropped my pen. Jaden picked it up for me, his expression calm and unreadable. He didn't seem to recognize me as the fiery girl from our childhood. Perfect. I decided right then and there I was going to make Jaden fall for me. I'd transformed into the perfect girl for him, right? There was no way he wouldn't like me now. For the first time, I was determined to actively chase someone. Has anyone ever succeeded in winning over their crush? Drop your tips in the comments. I could use the help. Step 1, create as many opportunities to hang out as possible. Using our new friendship as an excuse, I started asking about his likes and habits to make my moves. Jaden, I baked some brownies for the class yesterday. Want to try one?
Whoa, brownies? My favorite! Thanks, Casey.
This Sunday, I've got 2 tickets to the Eras Tour. Want to come?
How'd you know I love Taylor Swift?
Oh, I've noticed you listening to her songs, and hey, she's my favorite too. Guess we have something in common. I even forced myself to wake up early, something I absolutely hated, to coincidentally bump into him while jogging. Jaden, you run here too?
Oh, hey, you again, huh?
I run every morning. We should jog together sometime. On Valentine's Day, I decided to confess my feelings. Jaden, I like you. He looked at me in silence, his gaze making me more nervous than I'd ever been.
Sorry, Casey. There's someone I like.
It felt like a slap. Rejected by him for the second time in my life, I turned and ran before he could see the tears streaming down my face. That night, Jaden asked to meet, not as Kezia, but as his superhero friend. At first, I didn't want to go, but curiosity got the better of me. I needed to know who he liked. As we strolled down the street, I tried to act casual. So, Jaden, have you ever liked someone? He was quiet for a moment, then turned to look me straight in the eyes.
What if I said, I like you?
I froze, my heart pounding. Did I hear that right? You're joking, right?
I'm not joking. I like you.
His intense gaze told me he meant every word. But here's the thing. The mystery girl hero version of me didn't match any of the traits he said he liked in a girl. My emotions were all over the place. Had all my effort to change been pointless? That night, I left without giving him an answer. How could I when he just rejected me as Kezia earlier that day? Since then, I've avoided Jaden at school, around town, everywhere. Today, our class is on a field trip, but the weather's starting to look rough. Here's hoping it doesn't rain. I bent down to pick up a bundle of firewood, but before I could grab it, one of my classmates darted over and lifted it first.
Stuff like this is way too heavy for you. Let someone else handle it.
I watched him struggle to carry the pile away. For the first time, being treated delicately didn't feel special. It felt annoying. That's when it hit me. Trying to change who I was had been a mistake. Suddenly, someone shouted, "Guys, I know who the mystery girl hero is!" My stomach dropped. Had my secret been exposed? Her voice drew a crowd instantly. "I think mystery girl hero is Miley." Miley?
How do you know?
2 days ago, the superhero saved me. I chased her into an alley, and when I got there, Miley was the only one around. Oh no, that's because I'd climbed over a fence to hide. I've been watching Miley closely since then. She's strong and has the same build as the mystery girl hero. I'm sure it's her. Everyone nodded, her reasoning sounding legit. Right then, Miley walked by, and the group swarmed her with admiration. She didn't confirm or deny, but her vague responses only fueled the misunderstanding. Well, it's kind of hard to explain. Let's not make a big deal out of it, okay? Liar! She's not the superhero! All eyes turned to me. Oh, so do you know who Mystery Girl Hero is? Is it you? What if it is? The crowd fell silent before bursting into laughter. Kezia, seriously? That's as believable as a flying bunny. Everyone knows you're the weakest girl in school. You can't even carry a flower pot. Suddenly, a loud clap of thunder shook the air, making all of us jump. The sky opened up, pouring down heavy rain. Everyone stopped arguing and scrambled to find shelter. But just our luck, a lightning storm knocked over a tree, blocking the road ahead. As the group stood there panicking and unsure of what to do, someone grabbed Miley and pulled her forward.
Don't panic. We've got Miley here. Show us your super strength, Miley.
Under pressure, Miley froze, her face turning red. Are you kidding me? That tree's way too heavy! I never said I was a superhero! You got it all wrong!
Then why didn't you deny it earlier? You think this is funny?
I looked at the tree, torn between staying hidden and helping. But people needed help now. Taking a deep breath, I stepped forward and lifted the tree with ease. Hurry! Go find shelter! Once everyone was safe, their attention turned back to me. It was time to face the truth. I can explain. Growing up, my strength made people afraid of me, so I changed myself to fit in. I'm sorry for lying. I just didn't want to feel isolated anymore. After the truth came out, everyone looked at me with sympathy and admiration. I realized how foolish my past actions had been. Being true to myself was the best thing I could ever do. I spotted Jaden standing quietly in the corner watching me. Gathering my courage, I walked up to him. I'm sorry for keeping this from you.
Honestly, I've suspected you were the superhero for a while. I once saw her hat in your bag. Plus, everything I told her, you somehow knew. The reason I turned you down that day was because I wanted you to tell me the truth.
His words made me tear up as I explained everything. My past, my struggles, and how much his childhood words had hurt me.
I'm so sorry. I had no idea one silly comment would leave such a scar. Kezia, I like you. Be my girlfriend?
No. His face fell and I couldn't hold back my laughter. You turned me down twice and made me cry. Now it's your turn to chase after me.
Deal. I'll keep chasing you until you say yes.
I asked the teacher if I could step outside to get some fresh air, but for some reason, my heart was burning and something kept urging me to head toward the back of the school. What I saw there left me utterly shocked. I rubbed my eyes trying to make sure I wasn't seeing things, but no. It was my boyfriend passionately kissing another girl. And that girl was none other than... Alright, let me tell you the whole story from the beginning. Hi there, I'm Joyce. One word to describe me? Perfect. I had everything. A well-off family with parents who adored me, a hot boyfriend named Jack, our couple J&J was the king and queen of the school. Whenever we showed up, the students would go wild. I was the role model every girl wanted to be, so I always behaved perfectly, never slipping up. Of course, aside from those times when I had to keep up the facade, I had my moments of letting loose, especially when I was with my bestie, Lucy. There was this one time during a quiz competition where I nearly embarrassed myself by forgetting the answer to an easy question. But Lucy, sitting in the audience, held up a sign with the hint for me. I was beyond grateful, and from then on, we became best friends and even moved into the same dorm room. She was soft-spoken and shy, the complete opposite of my fiery and sometimes aggressive self. We had a favorite cafe that we went to almost every day. There was Alex, a pretty cheeky cashier. He seemed to have a crush on me and often gave us free desserts. But too bad for him, I already had my handsome Jack, and Lucy was my love advisor for our relationship. I'm worried. Lately, Jack only texts me once a day and it's always so short. Maybe you should try those boyfriend loyalty tests you see online. Tests? What kind of tests? You know, like... having someone else try to flirt with him to see if he's really faithful to you, and it's best if that person is someone close to you. I didn't hesitate at all and assigned Lucy to be the one to help me with this. She was reluctant, but in the end, she caved. So we spent the whole night coming up with the perfect plan. The next day, I purposely picked a fight with Jack and didn't talk to him for a week. During that time, Lucy would go to his basketball games to cheer for him, bringing him water and his favorite popcorn chicken. I also told Lucy to text Jack regularly and comment on his social media posts. A week passed and I was thrilled when Lucy told me that Jack didn't pay any attention to her at all. And that very night, he even texted me to apologize and asked if we could make up. This trick really worked, didn't it? Finally, he realized how important I was to him, right? So Jack and I got back together, and even though we didn't see each other much, he was always texting me, checking in on me. Then one day, I went to school and felt super uneasy for some reason. Maybe it was because my period was coming up? I asked the teacher to let me step out for a bit, and as I was walking toward the back of the school, I saw something horrifying. Lucy and Jack were making out! What the fudge? How dare you two!
Joyce, why are you...
I stormed over and slapped Lucy hard, but Jack immediately pulled her back and hugged her.
What are you doing? Last week was the most important tournament of my life, and I was super stressed and anxious. But you just played games, sulking and ignoring me. It was Lucy who encouraged me and came to my game instead of you.
What? Listen! Lucy caring for you. It was all part of my plan to test you.
Lucy told me everything. At first, I thought it was cute that you were trying to save our relationship, but then I realized I don't love you anymore. Instead, I love Lucy. She's like a little kid and I want to spoil and take care of, while you're too strong. You don't make me feel like I need to protect you.
Gosh, Lucy even hates cats! Lucy, you better explain this right now!
Look at yourself right now, and you'll understand why I did this.
And with that, the two of them walked off hand in hand. Worse, my so-called best friend turned back and mouthed what I could only guess was, "Give it up, you don't deserve him." I clenched my fists, shaking with anger, not knowing what to do. I headed straight to the cafe to vent to Alex, even though he wasn't much help when it came to advice.
Why the long face, kiddo? Let me cheer you up.
Quit talking, I'm not in the mood today. The usual, please.
So, a nice lemon tea. Teach me how to love you, huh?
Ugh, you idiot. Will you cut it out? He then apologized profusely and sat down to listen to me vent all my frustrations.
I told you before. I never thought that Jack dude was any good. Plus, with your temper, I'm the only one who can handle it. Don't be sad, okay? Let's go get some ice cream. Yeah, ice cream.
Zip it! You guys are all the same! Coming here was the biggest mistake of my life. It was already dark, but there was no way I wanted to go back to that dorm room with Lucy the betrayer in it. I thought about going back to grab my stuff and crashing at a hotel for the night. But when I got there, the room was completely empty. Lucy had moved out. She didn't even bother to tell me. I tossed and turned all night with a million questions swirling in my head. I just wanted morning to come so I could find Lucy and get some answers. The next morning, as soon as I saw Lucy, I blocked her path. We need to talk. There's nothing to talk about. Lucy tried to walk away, but I grabbed her hand and suddenly she yelped. Joyce, let go, that hurts! Then she just collapsed to the ground, crying out in pain. People started gathering around us, so I had to help her up to maintain my image as the queen of the school. It's nothing, really. Lucy, let me help you up. And then Lucy just scurried away. What a two-faced snake. Every night I tossed and turned looking at old pictures of me and Jack. I was angry, but I also missed him so much. But in the days that followed, whether by accident or on purpose, I kept running into Lucy and Jack, hanging out at all the spots that used to be special to me and Jack. I made a scene, but...
When are you going to grow up and stop these childish games?
I went back to feeling an indescribable sense of defeat. A whole month passed and I still couldn't get over it. The idea that a perfect girl like me had been dumped, or rather cheated on, was simply unacceptable. Jack's words kept replaying in my head. Could it be the problem was actually me? Yes, he was just messing around with Lucy to make me jealous. If I change, he'll come back to me. I started practicing meditation every day to calm my temper. And then I went to Alex, the master of smooth pickup lines that were all the rage, to get some advice on how to win Jack back.
You ignored me for a whole month, and now you want me to help you win back your ex? You know I'm crazy about you, right? But fine, because it's you, I'll let it slide.
I took notes like a maniac and put the plan into action that very night. But then... Jack, do you have a map?
What for?
Because I got lost in your eyes. But just a few seconds later, Jack blocked me. Alex! The next day, I baked some cookies and brought them to Jack's house, only to find Lucy was already there. She immediately let the dog loose on me and I ran for my life. Even Jack's dog turned against me. I decided to use my last resort. I rented a mascot costume shaped like a rooster, Jack's basketball team's mascot, and wore it to his game. Alex insisted on coming along to support me in case anything went wrong. After the game, I ran over to hug Jack, but Lucy tripped me and I rolled across the court a few times. The mascot head fell off and everyone burst out laughing. What a humiliation! And to make it worse, Jack didn't even bother to help me up. He just shook his head and walked away. But Alex was the one who did. I felt completely defeated, and Alex and I went to the cafe together. I was a total failure. I wanted so badly to expose those two awful people, but I had no proof since they were still sneaking around in secret. Alex noticed how down I was and tried to comfort me. In the end, this flirty goofball was the only one sticking around me for right now. The next morning, I went to school and was horrified to see a picture of me and Alex plastered all over the school forum. And whoever took it had framed it to make it look like we were kissing. Hundreds of comments flooded in, accusing me of cheating on Jack, and I was bombarded with hateful messages. I locked all my social media accounts to avoid the drama, but when I got to school, people were still cursing me out. They even spray painted all over my desk. It had to be Lucy who did this. She's the only one who knows my favorite cafe. But I was stuck in the middle of a storm, and if I made a big deal out of it, things would only get worse. So I had to swallow my pride and wait for the storm to pass. A while later, Jack and Lucy made their relationship public, and people actually supported them. Well played. A perfect plan, huh? And when this year's prom rolled around, Lucy replaced me as the new queen. Every time she saw me, she'd flash that smug smile, making me want to scream. Seeing me so down every day, Alex suggested we go for a walk by the river to clear my head.
Why are you torturing yourself like this? And for someone who doesn't deserve you?
But he was my boyfriend.
He's not your boyfriend anymore. I know how much this has hurt you, but sometimes we need to let go of things that no longer belong to us. Don't lose your sense of self-worth over something that's not worth it.
Alex's words hit me like a wake-up call. The Alex standing before me seemed so different from the usual flirty guy, and for some reason, my heart started beating a little faster. That night, I lay in bed thinking back on everything I'd done to try to win Jack back and realized how stupid I'd been. So I decided from now on, I'd live true to myself. I switched up my style to something more edgy, something that matched who I really was. No more pretending to be some princess because who even admired me anymore anyway? I took a 2-week break from school and went on a road trip with Alex, something I'd never dared to even think about before. I suddenly realized that whenever I was with Alex, I laughed a lot. He made me feel more alive, more confident in myself. I reopened my social media and often posted pictures from our trip to keep the memories, but under each post there were always comments from some strange account.
You don't deserve it.
I'm going to take everything from you. At first it bugged me, but then I just shrugged it off because now there were too many people in school who hated me to count. Alex was always there to help me get through the rough times and well, what was bound to happen, happened.
I've liked you since the first time we met, but you had a boyfriend, so I didn't say anything. But now I've got the courage. Will you be my girlfriend?
Oh my gosh, of course I said yes! We were so happy together, but for some reason, every time we went on a date, I would somehow end up running into Lucy, and she always gave us this really nasty look. Then Alex told me that Lucy had been texting him, trying to get to know him, but he never responded. A few days later, out of nowhere, Lucy came to apologize to me. Joyce, I was wrong. I agreed to be with Jack because I was weak and never had been loved before. I've broken up with Jack, and every time I look at our old photos, I feel so sad and miss you. Please forgive me. I felt a bit emotional looking at the picture of the two of us together, and then Lucy invited me to a party at her house that night to make peace. I hesitated, but eventually agreed. I told Alex about it, and he was still suspicious, but I decided to follow my heart. But when I got there, I found it was a rundown house with old, shabby furniture and only a picture of Lucy and her mom. There was no party at all. And then, everything suddenly went black. I opened my eyes and saw Lucy standing in front of me. Lucy, why? Blame yourself. I've had enough of you for a long time. Ever since we became friends, you always hogged the spotlight and I was just your sidekick. What are you talking about? I never thought of you like that. Shut up! You had everything. I had nothing. A house drowning in debt, a mom in prison, a dad who passed away, and not a single person to love me. So I had to take everything from you. You're going to pay for overshadowing me. Then she tied me up with a rope. Have a fun night, my dear friend. I was scared out of my mind as Lucy turned off the lights and was about to leave. Please, please, please someone save me. Just then, the door burst open with a loud crash, and a flash of light followed by the sound of a camera clicking filled the room.
Hello, Lucy. Nice to finally meet you.
Lucy immediately charged at him, and they started fighting right in front of my astonished eyes. In the end, Lucy managed to escape. Turns out Alex was worried about me, so he'd followed me and arrived just in time to save me. I don't know what would have happened if it wasn't for him. The next morning, we went to school and released all the photos we'd taken the night before. The students went wild. Look at Lucy's reaction. She tried to run, but I caught up with her. Everyone, don't believe it. Those are just photoshopped. Oh, come on. I'm just doing what you did to me before. What do you do you mean? Back then, I had to find just the right angle to make it look like you two were kissing, not Photoshop like yours. Realizing she'd slipped up, Lucy tried to escape, but it seemed like the crowd wasn't about to let her go. Looks like my dear friend is going to have a rough time ahead. Phew, what a mess, huh? But in the end, I got my reputation back and didn't have to pretend to be the queen anymore. Lucy ended up transferring schools and no one ever heard from her again. But whatever, she's not my concern anymore. What really matters now is this guy, the one who's got me all cheesy and love-struck. Are you a magician? Because every time I'm with you, everything else just disappears.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm sorry. What's happened?
See?
Oh my god! Miss Miller and I hastily got off the bus to check the woman's situation. She looked panicked and scared. When I saw the woman wandering around like she was looking for someone, I bent down beside her. Who are you looking for, madam? But as soon as she saw me, her eyes widened in terror. Then she fainted. Hello, I'm Chloe, 15 years old. I had a special life. I have lived at the foster home since I was an infant and never knew about my parents. And now here I am, in the hospital, waiting for the woman this morning to recover. Huh? Thank God she's waking up! After the woman felt better, we talked for a while. Her name is Campbell, and she lives north of town. The special thing was after knowing that I was living in the foster home, she offered to adopt me. Mrs. Campbell is gentle and has a very warm smile. It would be nice if I could come and live with her. That day was the day I came to live in a new house. As I was getting dressed, Miss Miller poked her head in and announced Miss Campbell's arrival. Is that Mrs. Campbell? A voice from behind me made me startled. It was Maggie. Although she had been here a few months, we were already very close. Maggie is kind, but... That woman, is she a good person? Yeah, she is kind of skeptical. She suspected anything unexpected happens. She didn't believe in random things. She often said, "Everything happens for a reason." Just go! I want to know exactly what kind of person she is. So we're done with the paperwork. Maggie immediately stood up and walked over to Mrs. Campbell. I'm Maggie. I'm considered to be the smartest kid here. How nice to meet you. We gotta go, Chloe. Maggie's expression made me chuckle. This time she was probably too suspicious. I'll call you later. The car stopped in front of the gate of a large mansion. I had to pinch myself to see if it was a dream. Ouch! So everything is true. Welcome home. From now on, it will be your home, she said, and then led me inside the house. We went all the way down the hall and into the living room. It really was the biggest house I have ever known. Then my mother gave me a map, saying that just in case I was not familiar with the house. Yes, it was the map of that mansion. You can go to any room you want, except for the room at the end of the hallway. That is my workplace. The room at the end of the hallway? Sounds like a horror movie, wasn't it? But that only happened in the movies, so there was nothing wrong with that, right? Okay. That night, I spent hours with Mrs. Campbell. I mean, my mom. I told her that I really love her, and it's great that she loves me too. With your beautiful face, I love you so much. So that was the feeling of love. I hope this moment lasts forever. The next morning when I woke up, I was startled to see a woman standing beside my bed. Good morning. Thank you. And another maid emerged from under the bed, holding up 2 slippers. Good morning, Miss Chloe. She even lifted my feet to put on slippers. My gosh, it's unbelievable. Is there anything I should be doing myself? Be rich, miss. I think it's gonna be hard. In the next few days, I just spent all day wandering in the large mansion. Ugh, the air was so cold. It's such a waste when that big house only accommodates a few people. When I saw Mom sitting downstairs drinking tea, I rushed down to join with her. But as soon as she saw me, she immediately changed her attitude. What are you wearing? My clothes? No, my daughter can't wear this. Sit here and wait for me. What's going on? What does she mean by I can't wear this? Even though she left me confused, I still sat quietly and waited. After a few minutes, Mom came back with a bunch of dresses in her hands. Blue, red, purple, yellow. All of them were expensive ones. Did you buy all these things for me? You should wear them and throw away all the old clothes. They no longer match you. I feel uncomfortable with these dresses. They make it hard for me to walk around. But my mother insisted that they fit me well and that I had to wear them so that I looked like the daughter of a rich family. It was strange. That evening, we sat down to dine together at the large table. About this morning, I'm sorry for raising my voice. It's okay, Mom. I'm not pushy. She looked at me and gave me a gentle and warm smile. That smile seemed to have the power to make me forget everything. But when I was about to go and sit next to her, she immediately got angry. This is not your seat. Sit down right there. Before I could react, Mom got up and left, leaving dinner unfinished. What happened? I couldn't understand her behavior. It was not even over. She even asked me to learn the piano. Mom even hired a teacher to tutor me at home. If you don't work hard, you'll have to skip dinner tonight. But I'm just getting used to it. How can I pass your test? My daughter must be good at the piano. Sit here and try harder until I come back. It's absurd. How the hell can I become a piano genius overnight? God! My beloved daughter, did you just say something? No, nothing, Mom. Again! Something very strange happened. I was forced to take piano lessons many days later. I wasn't allowed to go out. Yes, she forbade me to visit the children in the foster home even though the distance was not far. Ugh, I can't take it anymore. Things were getting more and more weird. I knew it was time to talk to Maggie. One day, I waited for Mom to go out. Then I invited kids in the foster home to come here. So you say Mrs. Campbell is weird? But how? She changes her emotion very quickly. Sometimes gently, sometimes irritably. I don't understand. Every time she became angry, she went to her workplace alone. While we were both thinking, a loud noise startled us. I panicked and ran to the place where the noise came from. It turned out that the naughty children had knocked over the small cupboard in the mom's bedroom. I was telling the kids not to mess around when Maggie spoke up. Chloe, look what I found! My hands trembled as I held my mother's medical record. It turned out she had a mental problem and could hardly control her emotions. There's definitely a secret in that room. We immediately ran to the room with the large lock outside. Was there really a scary secret behind that door? As I stood hesitating, Maggie ran out of nowhere with a shovel in hand. Look at me! Do you want me in first or you in first? I didn't reply to her, just quietly pushed the door open. Inside was a large room. In the middle of the room was a grand piano, much bigger than mine outside. Did she also play the piano? I walked over and touched the keys. The notes sounded clear and I knew it was still in good condition. You surprised me, Chloe! Maggie's voice startled me. You got close to Mrs. Campbell, didn't you? Following her gaze, I spotted a large wall hung with pictures of my mom and another girl who looked like me, but not me. She's not me. What was going on? I couldn't breathe. I felt like my heart was being twisted. So this is why she insists on adopting you. Dear Sophia, my poor beloved daughter, it's been almost 10 years since we last saw each other. I kept everything that used to belong to you. Your piano, your dresses. I miss you so much. Today, I ran into a little girl who looks like you. Stop, please. My mom, Mrs. Campbell, adopted me because I resembled her daughter. But what happened to that girl? I'll take the kids home. Maybe you want to be alone right now. When all was gone and I felt alone in the big mansion again. What should I do? I just sat still in that room, next to the piano. I thought of Sophia, a girl I had never met, and Mrs. Campbell. How am I feeling? Angry? Sad? Or disappointed? Sophia? I stopped playing, stood up and looked at Mrs. Campbell. I could clearly see her shoulders shaking. But I'm not Sophia. I'm Chloe. She's just obsessed with her daughter. Sophia? Is that you, Sophia? No, I'm not Sophia. I'm Chloe, the child you adopted from the foster home. Even though I didn't look at her, I knew she was slumped on the ground. After a few seconds, I took a deep breath, picked up the picture of Sophia on the piano, and walked over to her. Are you looking for this girl? I don't know how to tell you. I love you. Whether you're Sophia or Chloe, You adopted me, turned me into your daughter? Did you just do all these things to hurt me? Before she could even say anything, I left the house in tears. I ran to the foster home and went straight to Maggie. I know you're upset. Why is this happening to me? You see, everything happens for a reason. But you and Mrs. Campbell are alike. She needs a daughter, and you need a mother. I'm not angry because she had a problem. I'm angry because she kept it from me. If we didn't find out her secret, how long would she consider me Sophia? I don't know if I can forgive her. Of course you can, and you will because you're Chloe. Mrs. Campbell is very pitiful, isn't she? She lost the daughter she loved the most, but I'm sure Chloe can give her a bigger love than that. You love her too, don't you? I remember her gentle smile. It was the warmest one I had ever seen. After talking with Maggie for a while, I realized she was right. I knew what I needed to do. I went back home to find Mom standing on the balcony, and I took her hand. Just keep your Sophia in your heart, but I'm here, and I can bring you a new love. Let me be your daughter. Oh, Chloe, thank you very much. The period after that was the happiest time of my life. I have a mother, a close friend, and younger brothers who always love me. I realized that just give, and we will get more in return.